When you start a game of Galleon's Reach, you begin with 36 hex cards. One of these cards is a wormhole card. The wormhole card always goes at the center of the map. And here in front of the camera, I have 4 home planet hex cards. Home planet hex cards are where players start the game. It's their home planet. If the home planet is captured by an opponent, the player that owns that planet has 1 turn to get it back. Home planets are unique in that they have an intrinsic built-in starbase and planetary defense. The planetary defense is always level 1 technology unless the player has level 2. You also have 2 sets of resource couples, so that gives you 2 build points. And in a 4-player game, everybody has a home planet, but in 2-player or 3-player games, you can use 1 or 2 of the home planets as regular planets for a game, which is why there's a controlled die roll number on there too. If the home planet's being used as just a regular planet, then there will be no intrinsic starbase or planetary defense, but you will still have the 2 resource couples. It'll be used like that. Now I'm going to lay out a game for 4 players, show you how it's done. You place your wormhole at the center of the board, and you take your home planet. Everybody takes their home planet based on the house that they select, and move them out to the outside. And I'm going to pick kind of a large map here to show how you lay out the cards. Wormhole always being in the center. What I do is I kind of lay the cards out with a little bit of space between them, because you have to get your hands in there to flip them over when you're moving on to them. And each space card, each hex card, has blue concentric rings on the corners, and these represent hyperspace jump nodes. And when you move in the game, you move between cards, not on the cards. You can land on a card, but movement takes place between cards. And a completed hyperspace jump node consists of three ringed intersections of 3 cards, and that's a jump node. So, for example, a squadron of ships can start here and can move 1, 2, 3, 4. The last move is not considered a move. So you can move 4 hyperspace jump nodes maximum in the game. But you all start out with only one ability to move 1, so you can go 1 or 1, and that's how we start the game. So we're laying out the cards in this pattern. And the larger the pattern, the longer the game, and the more interesting too. It also means that technology will go to higher levels, so you'll be dealing with higher levels of technology. And of course, like I said, games will take a lot longer. So we're just kind of laying them in a sort of a symmetrical pattern so that all the players have sort of an equidistance from other players, to give everybody sort of a chance to build up their little empires and collect their resources and have a decent chance at winning the game. This is kind of an unusual little pattern I'm doing here. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'll go out to here. And there we go. And we have 2 cards left. So what I'm going to do is I'll put 1 here. Now, where can you put the home planets? I'm going to take, let's see, I put 1 home planet here, 1 home planet here, 1 here, and 1 will go right there. So now we have, I'll back the camera up a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on. And there we go. We have a complete table with all the hex cards placed out. And each player will take their first squadron and place it on their home planet, like this. And when they move, usually you'll always start out with raiders, and you'll have 1 squadron of raiders, and you can only move 1. So what you'll do is if you can do one of 3 things. You can either move, you can build, or you can research. Generally, at first turn, you'd like to move and see if you can get some resources. So let's say this squadron wants to move. He goes 1, and then he goes 2 right here. And we flip this card over, and we see we've got, and he's got a planet called Hyperborea. And if you look at Hyperborea, it's got a die roll control number of 1 through 5. So I've got to roll a 1 through a 5 to take control of this planet. And if I do, I now have another resource couple. So I'll have 3 resource couples, which means I can build one squadron of raiders. If I can get one more resource couple, I'll have 4 resource couples, and I could buy a destroyer squadron. But I need the technology for that. So here I am, and I've got to roll a 6-sided die. I roll a 5, which means I take control of the planet. So I take and place my house flag, which has a little shield on there. And I place it on the card so that everybody can see who controls that planet. And the game plays like that. Cards are turned over, and players try to take control of planets. Now, if I had moved my squadron and I didn't get control, and I moved the next turn away, I would not be able to roll for control for that planet. You have to have ship squadron of any kind of ship on that planet to roll for control. If I had placed, later in the game, if I had been able to build armies and put an army on that planet and had control of it, another player would have to destroy those armies to take control. And if he was able to, he wouldn't have to roll for control. And the only way to do that is to land armies and invade with other armies. So the game does work. If one player starts building armies, if you plan on destroying them militarily, you're going to need to build armies too. So that is how the game is laid out. And like I said, you can make smaller maps. You can make different shape maps. If the players agree, you can make any map configuration you choose. If this was a 2-player map, this would be a very long game. It could go on for 3 hours because there's a lot of territory here. The wormhole is the center of the board because to gain Galleon's Reach, which is one of the ways to win, you need to research Stargate technology. And here's the technology chart, which is right up here at the top of the specials category. And if you obtain that, and you have a squadron of ships on the wormhole for 1 turn, and no one can kick you off, you win the game. That's one way of winning. The other way of winning is to defeat militarily all your opponents and take over their home planets. That's very difficult. The third way is to become emperor, and that requires a number of things. This is the Become Emperor track on the technology chart. And you need to win a number of battles. You need to have drawn a number of Imperial Favor cards. You need to be controlling a number of planets, in this case 6. You need to obtain a number of technologies, Leviathan ships, star bases, and 1 jump travel. If you have those technologies, you have 6 planets, you have 6 Imperial Favor cards that you have drawn, and you have won anywhere from 6 to 8 battles. Then you have to roll a 6-sided dice. If you roll a 6, you become emperor, you win the game. So those are 3 ways you can win the game.